Hi, good day, folks. Well, another video. As you've probably gathered by now, these aren't edited, these are just my beliefs, and I really want to promote other people speaking out. Yeah, to us Brits, we seem to not speak out until it's too late. And then we just put up with things. No, we need to change. We need to make our beliefs known. It doesn't matter if you agree with them or proper debate. It's like over the last few days after my last video. Now the government are organising for chaos. Really? 2 years. But, like I said in my other video, from day one, we were dictated to by the European Union. You know, from being a youngster within government, parliament, we had a bloody good parliament. Now with the European, they've made them lazy. Most of you, some hopefully, which are watching this video, will be able to relate to what I'm about to say. For a lot of you, you will be amazed because politics for many years, the majority of people don't vote. The referendum made a lot of people vote because it was something they felt strongly about, where Parliament has been losing that interest. Why? Well, I'll give you a good reason why. Most people in Britain don't realise that Europe, how they look, their eyes into Britain is amazing. They knew when we had that Brexit vote that our Parliament are so used to and government is so used to other people doing things, and then for them to say, well, we'll have this and we won't have that, and we'll have this and we won't have that. But in Europe, in Brussels, do you realise why we lost our fishing waters, why we lost everything, really? Why do you think it's been Europe? People say, okay, we pay that money, but Europe pays us X amount back into Britain, into different different parts of Britain. Yeah, that alone is dictatorship. They only put into Britain the money they seem viable, that Britain can't stand alone. They will not put money into Britain which will make Britain better and better. That's not Europeans. I'm rambling again. it's just been a total demise of Britain. Now, the reason for this, and the reason it's been most of the time the Europeans' voice and no one else's, is because, yeah, here's a big shock, our MEPs. I don't think you would be allowed a freedom of information. Yeah. It would be amazing, but I don't think that would be possible. How many laws have been put through into England without a vote of our MEPs? I do have information. This isn't once or twice. This is throughout the board. Our European MEPs are a disgrace to England. A total disgrace. If you're going to go sign that book and then go and let very important laws just go through, I'm sorry, but you're being paid what? To go and have lunch? To go and have a... Nah. Our MEPs in Europe have let Britain down. And European nation, our MEPs are a joke. Most normal, hard-working British people don't realise. Because they're hard-working. And they don't... Well, even if they tried to notice, it's not public record. So, we can't blame Europe for... We can, because they implemented them and they asked for them. But we didn't have any MEPs which stood up for us. That's what their job is. But half of the time, more than half of the time, they weren't acting in the European Union on our behalf. You see, that's a problem. Years ago, we picked up on the duck pond and the expenses. The problem is a lot bigger. The corrupt side of things. Corrupt? Yes, I would say that, because I'm a British, normal, hard-working citizen. And these people are supposedly working on our behalf. Supposedly. So, one big news flash, but some of you already knew that our MEPs in Europe one day I may make a video, name and shame, because these people will be in politics for most of their life, unless people make it abundantly clear when they signed the book and then went to have lunch and these laws were passed, the detrimental side of Britain. So yeah, that's one. The one over the last 24 hours has been propaganda. Propaganda. See, these people giving propaganda. I said in my previous video that Brexit isn't going to be a bed of roses. It's not going to be... For a lot of businesses, why do we have Brexit? Because the public had the vote and the public spoke. Now, the news and other people have been trying to make it's solely on immigration. Well, no, it isn't. Yeah, Yeah, I might be making a referendum for people. The argument, as far as I believe, is sovereignty. We are British. We like to be part of the whole world. I do anyway. But does it mean that I have to have people dictate to me? I knew when we had the Brexit vote. A few days later, after they kicked Theresa May out, which, as far as I'm aware, is against the book. It's not legal. She was privy in every European meeting up until the day we leave. So the European nation broke their law. Yes, we had the vote to leave, but we haven't left yet. And then they decided to dictate. You can't do this until you can do that, until you can do this. But I've said that in the previous video. So this propaganda, Britain is going to come to a standstill. It's not going to be easy. But people are going to crucify me for this. But it's not a war. A typical war. These countries, see, I tried, without reiterating, their ethics, they're all brought up differently. Where in Britain, our ethics are quite broad. They're a given for the people which understand that. So, for the lazy people which supposedly acted on the people's behalf, our MEPs in Europe, they really did us an injustice because they were out there showing the European Union that Brits are lazy. Brits aren't lazy. Far from it. So Brits, they've tried to go down the road of work smart, not hard. One or two people will recognise that. Work smart, not hard. So Britain have gone down the service route instead of the manufacturing route. How's that doing for Britain? When we had the vote, like I said, preparation. Now this propaganda, the army. Well, yes, okay. That would have been done immediately after the referendum. Certain things, for worst case scenario, would have been put down days after. What should have been done is 0 to something. So it should have been, okay, the public have voted for Brexit. Right, we start from 0. As in, no deal, no, just we leave. How can we build upon that? That wasn't done. Government demise was, we do a deal. And then, okay, that deal's not good enough. Oh, right. Until we've got no bargaining chip. Right. So the only deal left on the table is what our government going to sign that we have to pay for, that my baby has to live? Would my understanding, maybe not 100%, um, the deal which is on the table for the minimum of 2 years, we would have to adhere and adopt any new laws which came into force, but we would not have a say in it. See, on the news, in the media, they speak about things, but those things, they know what it's going to be next week and the week. Even most people would know anyway. It's news. The things you have to worry about are the ones which are not spoken about. It's like, since the referendum, how many times have you heard about the army? How many times have you heard about the European Parliament? So we don't need one. Once, twice, yeah. These are real. These are real. The excuse for currency is unfounded. You can't dictate a few of these countries which have euro. You can't do a platform tax. It doesn't work. It crucifies financial institutes. And for, I've got to say it, an organisation, because they're not elected, they're just people who want to have a job. Well, wow, let's make a job. Bing. Our parliament, our government have been useless for many years. Many years. Otherwise, our MEPs would be doing a bloody job. It's a sham. Because of their failure, we had Brexit. And my take on things, Brexit is about putting things in control of Britain. No third party, Britain. We need good politicians. We need good parliament. We all have disagreements. We all have different feelings. One thing is for sure. I think throughout the nation, with anyone with a feeling, would, if you're in an industry which the European Union pays, is that institute valid to make Britain great? I'm not saying it isn't. What I am saying is Europe seemed to not put in two things into England which will make things better. Might make things nicer, but not better. It's just, give me a policy. Give me, the European nation have been 100% on the demise of Britain. That's why we are where we are. And our prime ministers over the last few years haven't been that great. European nations have walked right over them. You know, David Cameron, he couldn't get any sort of deal, even with the dangle of a threat to the European Union that we will have a referendum. You know, and the European nation called his bluff. So Parliament now will be trying to mitigate circumstances so they can have some sort of deal where they keep European law. Eventually, come May next year, it will be this is the best for the country, and we will work through it. Well, actually, any deal. I sound like a broken record, but if you look on what has happened, any deal, whether up front or in the writing or the wording, it it has to be at the demise of Britain. Has to. I the European they can't do a U-turn. They should, but they're not built like that. They haven't got the ethics of what we have. It's like European citizens in this country can stay, blah blah blah, all the rest of it. But Europe have said anyone in Europe, you'll have to have a visa. Guess what? I heard something. Was it today? Yesterday, saying about the ports, planes, and stuff like that. From they were talking to someone from Germany, and zero information. They will not tell Britain what they will allow and what they won't allow if there's a no deal Brexit. But why should they? Why? We should have a government which turns around and says, if we have a no deal Brexit, this is what's going to happen. You know, you're not going to be able to even try to come to Britain on planes, unless you have. You know, we're in December now. So things should have been in place before now. Visas, air traffic documents, licensing, insurance, everything should have been in place before December for a no deal Brexit. We have a useless, it hurts me to say it, a useless government. They've had it so easy. It's not easy, but compared to how it was without Europe, you know, our MEPs being paid to wine and dine and just sign the book and let these laws pass. Wow. I wonder how much they got paid. I wonder how much they're worth, these MEPs. It's possible to find out. It is. And it will eventually. But no, I think people voted, myself anyway, was primarily we need one person a party to blame or to say well done. If we had someone with a backbone which could fight with Europe, brilliant. Okay, yeah. Because as far as I've seen, most of the laws have just signed off, and that's why we are where we are. And if we have a agreement, it hurts me to say it, it's just gonna speed things up. They've realised now, people in Britain are not happy, and a few have seen what European Union wants to do. And I do not agree in a European army. I do not agree in one parliament running Europe. How can this situation work? They want all this, and now they've been told by Britain that we want to leave. Amicably, but we want to leave. And from the outset, you have to do this before you do this, before you do that. Dictatorship. Nasty. Not okay, but things have to be done properly. So we look after Europe and that we try and make the transition as seamless as possible, and let's work as a partnership to break up. This is a divorce. Yeah, see, usually in a divorce, you have one person which makes a load of lies because they need to get divorced. And in law, you have to have a valid reason. And if you don't have a valid reason, you can't get divorced. So that promotes a lot of rubbish. What a shame. And this propaganda, what always happens in a war, like I said, it's not going to be easy for Britain. One thing I am sure of, I can't see a day where an agreement will be put in place for us to sign, which will be amicable. Maybe I'm a pessimist. I'm not. I'm usually an optimist. But with Europe, they don't want anyone else to leave. So they're going to want to burn Britain. And if we crash out, then financially they're going to be hurt. So the retaliation is going to be not pretty, because it's going to be like a spoiled little child which has lost its toy. And we have been their toy. So Theresa May needs to do a proper job. Well, she should have already done it, not propaganda, the army, and really and truthfully, there should have been different factories set up across Britain. She should have helped out with the farmers. Well, Britain's small enough. If they can't really sort Britain out, then really go and work for the European Union. Seriously, don't be a politician in Britain. Go to Europe. They pay better there. Go on. Uh, it annoys me. So I was hoping that these videos would stop. Um, but I do feel passionate about industry, business, and the general people. Now, what has been happening, like with these 0 hour contracts, yes, but if someone's going to be employed, it just doesn't work. You can't employ someone for more than a month, whatever, on 0 hour contract. It just doesn't work. You know, if you do a couple of months, then you should have at least a basic hourly. Yeah, it can't be that you work for a couple of years on 0 hour. Incomprehensible. But this is Europe. Protect themselves and shit on everyone else. Excuse my expression. So, what's going to happen in the news over Christmas? Probably they've planted the seed, so everyone's going to be wanting to jump on it and give everyone a really, really horrible Christmas. Yeah. I just hope if people feel embedded in themselves that you need change. Yeah, just one example. I think I've said it previously. Our government came out with a law years ago about security. Everyone who dealt with security had to register with the SIA. Yeah, Security Industry Authority. The licensing, and then you had to, even though you could do the job, but you had to take courses, thousands of pounds, to be licensed by the SIA. But that's every 3 years, and then your first aid every 2 years. But realistically, it's every few months. Learning new things is very good, but to repeat same things for thousands of pounds, it's just making someone else make money. Like I said, services, instead of actually doing something, just making jobs, like the council. The environmental health, like the refuse. Don't mention it, yeah. So it's to. I just want people to speak out. A referendum, eh? Actually, I hope they do. I really do. Because it will prove to everyone in the world that our government, our politicians, everyone, they don't know what they're doing. You know, that when we got told we're having a referendum, no one believed it. Then we had the referendum, and no one believed the outcome. But yes, they have these surveys and this, that, and the other, but systematically over the centuries, the demise of Britain. David Cameron had it in black and white. I'd love to prove it. David Cameron had it in black and white. He knew the public voice. He knew before he even said. If he gave the public the choice of a referendum, we would leave. He knew 100%. Our security services are usually pretty good. It doesn't take a survey. And the problems within Britain, it was a given that we were going to leave. Okay, people saying the lies on the bus and lies here and lies there and lies here. I can tell you truthfully, in my opinion, if there is an agreement on the table, like I've said, it's going to be detrimental to Britain. 100%. Whether it's up front or in legal text or hidden, it's not going to be pretty. So people which are going to say, you know, a deal's better than no deal. Wow. It's a good job I don't need to live in Europe. And legally, if I wanted to, I could. Anyone can. I'd like to be proved wrong. That's my thought to if anyone watches this. I'd like to be proved wrong. If an agreement isn't orchestrated to bury Britain or to hurt Britain. You know, for the people who don't want Brexit, do they want what is on the table? You know, there is no problem with Ireland whatsoever. Zero problem. You know, do the European Union want to pay for Ireland? Does the European Union want to look after Ireland? Does Ireland want to lose Britain? Ireland's bloody good. You know, there isn't a problem with Ireland. The European Union are making a problem, and we'll see what that problem turns out in fruition. See if they cause friction like they're doing. You know, it's what the European Union are doing is dangerous, but they are reckless. So I think over half an hour of rambling. And really, I've got so much to say, but these are just wake up. Tell me I'm wrong. You know, people are writing saying, "Oh, but okay, you're not going to pay the 39 billion, but you're not going to get the money in return." It's like, are you seriously telling me something that money can go into things which are needed in England, not something which the European Union are dictating? Oh no, that can't have it, but that can, because eventually you won't be able to survive on your own. And our fishing waters, there isn't an argument, they're ours. Then have you seen any funding back into our fishing ready for Brexit? Because we're going to need our fish for our fish and chippies. Yeah, to feed our public, because our food isn't going to be coming into the country. Have you seen money into farming? Come on, up produce, because we're not going to be importing it. Cars. Well, we've actually done quite well on cars. Yeah, we have a decent company. And do you want a BM? Do you know? If you do, go and live abroad. Honestly, companies like that, which have stayed in Britain, yeah, brilliant. They've. I'm not saying too much, but we help them, they help us. It's a partnership. European is not a partnership. It's always been a fight. But we've had useless politicians and useless MEPs. We can't get away from it. That's why we are where we are. And that's the embarrassing part for Parliament. So, come the vote in January, I would like the House, because you're going to be responsible, to decide. And I don't mean we can't decide, we're going to put it back to the people. What do you get paid for? Just don't think that Britain are not going to hold you responsible when you've signed that agreement and it's the demise of Britain. Well, even more, because you're not going to have a say in the laws, but they're going to be able to dictate them. Now, if someone gave me that power to make new laws, 2 years of making new laws without you telling me what I can and can't, hey, forget about Northern Ireland. You haven't seen the bigger picture. You really haven't. But I'm only a layman. So this is another ramble at nearly three quarters of an hour. And in it, there is probably 3 news clippings. One where our MEPs have let us down in Europe. Number 2, the criminality side of things. Number 3, how our government and parliament will always try to make an agreement than a no deal. And I think that's about it. I think. I just want more people to stand up. People say, oh, another referendum. Seriously? If, God forbid, yes, I am a Brexit. I don't trust Europe. I have to openly say it. But if they would have shown amicable, brilliant, not a problem. But the animosity and the systematic demise of Britain, and not when asked, if it's a crash out, if it's a no deal, would planes still be what would be the process. No information whatsoever. Anyway, whatever information you'd be given, it would be detrimental. So I love you lots. Thanks for the comments. I'm just trying to think of a few I could give a shout out to. Spelling. Well, brilliant, eh? Made people talk. It really did. And actually, if someone was picking up on it, then it should have been slight spelling and grammar. Like free trade. Free to trade. Because most trade isn't free. Be good if it was. Politics, eh? There's two things I always used to tell everyone not to speak about: politics and religion. Well, the government have done it this time, haven't they? But this propaganda. I hope it works for the government. I really do. Because my opinion, like I've said, if they sign an agreement, it will be detrimental to Britain. How can it not be? But people are saying, well, that's better than a no deal. My understanding is if you have a no deal, then you have to work out things. No dictatorship. It's like, no. So can we come to some sort of amicable arrangement? But with a deal, it's like, well, take it or leave it. You know, you're going to end up in you're going to end up in a mess if you don't. You have to sign. So, my personal opinion is, through all the propaganda, the only option, there isn't any option. It is, and people are going to, someone said, oh, close the door on the way out. Well, I was going to say in that comment, yes, it would be nice too. But the animosity, close the door on your way out, as in, we don't want to know you. Really? Is that how bad things are? Yeah, okay. I do know of certain countries which, Britain, go there. But I don't know. Is that the older generation? Is that the younger generation? I'd like to know. Because I think the majority of Brits, how they act, are usually quite upstanding throughout the world, apart from our MEPs and our government and our politics. They don't realise why they're there. They think it's just a job and they get paid for it. Where really, would they do it if they didn't get paid for it? And that's the people. Yes, everyone needs to get paid, but we need people who are passionate about it, not for the money. Look at Tony Blair. Yes, I know. I knew Tony Blair. William, his brother. When Tony was in Prime Minister, William wanted to write a biography, and his brother told him, "No, not until I'm out of number 10." Yep. William used to live in Beddington, near Crawley, West Sussex. Yeah, nice guy, nice family. So please, all of you, have a heart, but don't take what the news scares you. Realistically, I find it impractical for Sky, BBC, all of them before Christmas to give this rubbish, because what are you, the general person, going to be able to do about it? Yeah, it's propaganda. It's pushing it before Christmas with, so when you get family, friends, relations, you all talk about it. It's not socially good, but that's why it's propaganda. Honestly, if we leave, then if things things aren't going to be smooth because Europe isn't going to want it, but Europe are going to want to sell things to us, maybe at a higher price. Um, so realistically, we need a government with a backbone. It should have started before now, not just doing lorry parks and security side of things. It should have been making quick and easy. Look at McDonald's, he can build one in a bloody week. Factories for making bandages, all our dressings for medicine, all the rest of it. Organised with America for assistance. Yeah. Use our use ask our friends, because bullies need standing up to, and realistically, I do not want to be a part of an association which has done what the European nation has done. And really, throughout, the reason why I wanted to leave in the first place has now excavated to I'm standing up and saying, you can't do this. You can't say, take this bad deal or we're going to make it terribly bad for you. We've been in worse situations, and things, if done, instead of bowing down and being scared, if we take a hit, but then we can stand strong after. Yeah. So really, it depends on what the nasty people are going to do to Britain to how bad it's going to be. But money talks. Money talks. It's not for the general person. It's for the derivative. It's for the investment people. It's for the people who have lots and lots of money. Amazing, this world, you know. Amazing. I live in a quaint little village in Cumbria, and we have a few families with children. They had problems at school from younger, and now they've gone on into big school. They're creating havoc, and the police, no one will do anything because the families are influential. The good thing about media is those children are soon going to be in a few more years, be of legal age. So then you can publicise without prosecution. But setting fire to fences, breaking fences, ripping down hanging baskets with poppies in for Poppy Week, stealing from the co-op every week, vandalism, burning the bus seats, ripping the bus seats, creating mayhem. But as past has shown, some of the influential people have children, and for whatever reason, home life isn't that great. They haven't been brought up with morals, respect, responsibility. So the families have a few problems, so they stick them into private school. And then when the children finish and leave private school, they go out and commit murder. Wow. All that money, all that influence, all that decent education means nothing. Some schools get crucified for not being perfect. Should I say for the environment, some of the children causing problems, like the children I was speaking about. So the school gets put down for that, where most of my life in education, it's down to the parents. School, it would be nice to think that school is the only place for education. But fundamentally, education is at home. Schools are to reinforce education. How was education started in the first place? Why do children have so long in the summer holidays? It's because years ago, for the factories, they needed trained, skilled workforce. So that's how schools were formed, to train the workforce. And during the summer, in Britain, during the summer, all the children used to have the summer holidays off to work on the farms. Yeah, same as Thailand. Yes, that era. But now none of them work on the farms and all. Yeah, but they still have quite a long time off during the summer. Another part of education is, university, is to become a dean. It's just a vicious circle. But diploma, masters, doctorate, what would you use that for later in life? Education's good, doesn't matter what it is. But schools should be promoted for trying to help certain difficult families. Another issue. how to get off track. Another issue, violence to women. They're trying to promote more men on board. Well, from a security standpoint of things, a lot of women who are physically and mentally abused by men, it's how things have been happening isn't 100% right. Yes, there are a lot of women which are affected, but there are a lot of men as well. So to be, it's not racist, to be segmented, judgmental is wrong. Violence between partners, not women and not men, both. So, I came up with an idea years ago of it should be CCTV. If a family has a problem, then CCTV should be put in. Now with technology, with the internet and broadband and things like that, it is so easy. So the lady, if she's been abused by the man, doesn't want to do anything, but the law can. So if there was a family which was on the books that this may be happening, even to do with children, nothing to do with that, just to do with children. Nowadays, with the broadband and computers and stuff like that, it would be even with mobile phones. You know, you go in there, you talk to the family, you collect all the telephone numbers of the mobiles. You ask, the council can ask for your record for banking, your internet, many things. The law got changed years ago with security. So it wasn't down to police. But people yak about the police not doing the job. Realistically, even though that's on their license that they should do that, the law got changed to let private institutes deal with things. So like council, town hall, they're all legally entitled to get information. Now, for a year, all your internet use is monitored, saved, should I say. So anyone can collect that information if legally entitled to do so. You don't need a warrant, don't need to go to court, you just have to have a reason. So, anyway, I'm going to cut it at an hour. No, it's not. It's been longer than that, hasn't it? Oh, well. Yeah, so until the next lot of rubbish I find out, I'm sure it will be before Christmas. I hope one or two of you actually do read through what I've been saying. And it's just whether it's social problems, but really, it does start at the top. It starts with government, parliament, and they always shove the rubbish. Oh, it's the European Union making red tape, this, that, and the other. Well, part of that is down to our failure of our MEPs. It's just a mess. And it's about time we got back to the how things used to work, but with a twist. Anyway, love you all. Till next time, it's me, Stuart. Bye.